This episode of Says Who is brought to you by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday you get this all over again. You get me and Maureen doing a little thing we call the Town Watch, a bonus podcast that has more episodes than most podcasts at this point. So that's how you know we make good decisions. You get that if you give it the $5 a month level. If you throw another $5 in there, you also get a sticker in the mail every month, mailed by my 9-year-old to you, designed by me, though, not by a 9-year-old. And they're great. They're very good stickers. So you should join up.
It's good value.
It is very good value.
Look, I decided to take the what's in Maureen's bins. I just put the whole page.
You put the whole thing on.
Because
Boom.
I had it sort of hanging on the wall, and then finally I'm like, no, I want the whole thing with me.
You can use the whole sticker. It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is available to you at patreon.com/sayswho.
My favorite is the little cartoon of pictures of Dan, and there's this little magical image of you. Those are my favorites. That and the tarot cards, and the We Can Work With This. Those are on this other notebook. Good. Oh man, I hope somebody has a wall, a sticker book. Did you ever have a sticker book when you were a kid? Did you collect stickers?
Oh yeah, I had a sticker book when I was a kid. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
There was a little store in our town that was your go-to sticker place, and they just had a wall of rolls. Yeah.
Oh, I just went into a kind of bliss. Just the idea of going in there, my eyes roll back in my head. Yeah. I'm like, how I could get some stickers. Then you save the ones in the back that still had the backing, because that way you can trade them.
Yeah, the thing about sticker books was I always was but then I can't do anything. The ones that I really liked, there were ones they were you would buy, it was kind of a larger size sticker, and it was like a bear, and then you could buy clothes bits that you could stick on.
Oscar is doing a whole mime to me that he's going to go to. Yes, you're going to lunch. You're going to get a sandwich. You're hungry. You're eating a hat. What do you do? Oh, you're rubbing your belly. He said a whole thing is happening.
It's like charades over there.
He's trying to tell me without being disruptive that he's going to go get something to eat, but what he is actually doing is a whole performance.
Okay, well that's nice.
Yeah.
I hope he's getting a good something to eat.
Listen, y'all.
Yeah.
It's the holidays, and maybe you need a gift.
Possible.
Books are a great gift, especially now when we need to expand our minds and be somewhere else.
True.
I've written a bunch.
Have you?
Other people have also written them. If you haven't read Death at Morning House yet,
it's good.
If you want to really sink in, try Truly Devious. Many of you probably already have.
Probably true. But they probably know someone that hasn't.
Why not throw a copy at a person?
Literally throw it.
Read this.
Wing it at their head.
Yep. Books by Maureen Johnson.
If you'd like to buy those books on the internet, you can always go to kickbezosintheballs.org, our own little bookshop, where you can grab Maureen's books very quickly and easily. But there's also a search bar where you can order other books, and that's handy for the holidays, isn't it? Anyway, you can do that at kickbezosintheballs.org. And if you're buying things on the internet, go on over to merch.sayswhopodcast.com, where we have a whole lot of Says Who merchandise. Just a remarkable amount of Says Who merchandise, if we're being honest here. Or go to my own little bookshop my own little shop at shop.dansinker.com, where I sell patches, but I just added this week a couple of throwback tees to different lifetimes of mine. You can order a Punk Planet t-shirt. You can order a Quaxelrod t-shirt.
Oh, the Quaxelrod is a ship's kiss.
And it's good stuff over at shop.dansinker.com.
Dan.
Yes.
How do you feel about the health of America right now?
Not great.
That was beautiful, though. You sounded like a beautiful, weird bird. You know what I was thinking about the other day was I saw an eagle go past when I was at Philly,
Mm-hmm.
and it was so beautiful and majestic, but I just was trying to remember your imitation of the eagle sound.
They're like the eagle sounds that you think of from television or movies are all hawks because eagles make stupid fucking sounds.
So you're saying the symbol of America looks like one thing, but in actual, it sounds like, oh, but in reality, it's
like a weird turkey. Also, it just eats garbage. Like, it's basically like a seagull. Like,
so our American symbol is a weird garbage eating, trash talking weirdo.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
But thanks to propaganda, we think of it as a beautiful, majestic bird.
Welcome. I don't know how you're going to cut that together, but that sounds like a Dan problem too.
Nah,
Says
exactly.
who?
It's always a Dan problem.
The podcast that's Dan's problem. I'm Maureen Johnson.
And I am the problem. I am Dan Sinker. I'm tired today, Maureen. How are you?
I asked for an extra 2 minutes because I was eating toast.
Yeah. I mean, you could have just eaten toast. I can see you eat toast unless you have some sort of strange way of eating a toast.
No, it's just I don't want it on the, microphone. No one's a chomp, 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 chomp
right.
toast.
Okay.
Dan,
yeah.
the last week or so,
Yeah.
some of my old symptoms have decided to surface.
Oh, that's fun.
Some real throwbacks.
Oh, that's nice.
I have been fighting some hardcore nausea.
Oh, nice.
I can't temperature regulate.
Perfect. That would be why you're in such a big puffy jacket right now.
And that's actually just because it's cold in here. But then I'll get super hot. But yeah, I was super cold, super hot, nauseous. I feel like last night I felt really nauseous. Today I was feeling better. I was like, stay easy. Just, eat some toast. Yeah.
I like a toast.
Toast is underrated.
Toast is one of the great pleasures. You put something boring in a thing, and then you have something delicious.
A little peanut butter and jelly on a piece of toast?
Butter and honey. A little piece of honey toast.
Don't sleep on rye toast either.
That's good. That's a good toast.
Rye toast, a little crunchy peanut butter, and a tiny bit of like a fruit preserve.
Yeah, fruit preserve.
You got yourself. I like this jam that's actually because it's chia. It's less sugar because it's just fruit and chia seeds to thicken it up.
Okay.
And it's really delicious.
All right.
Don't sleep on it.
All right, I won't.
Because Dan, and I'm having a lot of anxiety dreams.
Yeah.
Every single one this week has in some way featured me accidentally giving up my apartment
Okay.
and then desperately trying to get it back.
Oh, perfect.
Like I move, but then I move into a place that's just haunted and terrible. Like people would crawl through the windows at night and it was all dirty.
Oh, no.
And I had to beg to get back to my old apartment. In the end, we had to marry a guy. Like Oscar and I had to marry this guy to get the apartment back. We're like, okay, you can be married to us if we can get the apartment back.
That's good.
There's a lot of, I don't know what home is, Stan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of feeling nauseous and not knowing what your home is.
Yeah.
I wonder what it means.
I like when you have a lot of the same themed dream. And it's like, thanks, brain, for just fucking working all night on this thing.
Let's just make sure.
Could have just rested, and then I'd probably be better suited for it tomorrow. But
I'm going to make you worry all night.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm used to that. I'm used to that kind of action. It's not great action. You look like you're wearing a skinned Muppet right now.
It's a very kind of fuzzy boobly. It's very snuggly.
It looks very snuggly.
It's super ugly. It's just like a knobbly. I don't know what this is. It's like a knobbly. It's like a fleecy knobbly. I've turned into a Muppet.
Yeah, like it kind of, if it was colored, it's like
Mhm.
gray on the tips and dark underneath. But like if it was colored, it has the sort of textural feeling of those aliens from Sesame Street that are like,
Yeah. The yip yippus. The yip.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Yeah.
phone.
Kind of feels like that. Like you're wearing one of those. Like you saw one on the street, you just gutted it and put it on.
Oh, Dan. Oh,
Yeah.
Dan. Yip, 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 yip. I love the yip yips.
They're good.
Love the yip yips. Dan, it's been an illuminating week.
I think that this is you were still in.
I was in
Philly last week. You are back
Mhm.
at home now.
I sure am. And what all kinds of nonsense has been happening in New York City, Dan.
Yeah, you timed it well. You timed your return to the city remarkably well.
Dun, 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 dun. No notes. No notes.
There might be a few notes.
Dan, I suppose that we should talk about what's happened this week in America that's, I don't know, really shaped us.
Oh, really? Has something happened?
Now, what day did it actually happen? Was it Wednesday?
What is the it in that sentence?
The originating event.
Let's find out. Let's see.
I believe it was Wednesday, but
I believe it was Wednesday as well, but I'm not. You know what's impossible to find out anymore?
anything?
Information.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Wikipedia. December 4th. So it was in fact Wednesday, early in the morning on Wednesday.
All right.
Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, showing up in New York City, the New York Hilton in Midtown.
He was walking from one hotel to the other because that guy is not staying in the conference hotel.
No.
He is not. First of all, what that tells you, he is not hanging out with the plebs.
Right.
They are in the Hilton in the bulk rate rooms.
Right.
He is at wherever he was staying, some fancy ass hotel nearby, but not that one.
No. You know what, though? I got to admit, I fucking hate staying at the conference hotel.
Oh, no, it's the worst.
Because I need me time on that shit.
Yeah.
I need to be able to leave and go somewhere and just sit. So that I get.
Okay, but Dan, counterpoint.
Yeah.
One time we had LeakyCon at the Chicago Hilton.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I got this astonishingly huge room.
Yeah.
Where I lost my favorite sweatshirt, RIP sweatshirt. But
because it was so big.
I got a corner room. It was really beautiful. And I was running the lit track. And it was just a sort of a magical time. And I was sort of tweeting out hints and jokes about where my room was.
Uh-huh.
And kids figured it out and started to bring things and put them by my door.
Okay.
So I looked out and there was a lamp there. Then I looked out and there was a vase there. And then I looked out, then there was like a chair, a small piece of statuary, like just stuff started to appear in front of my door. And it was so funny that and then we got a bunch of pizzas for something and we had leftover pizzas. So I just left them and I tweeted to the kids where the pizza was and all the kids took the pizza. And it was this beautiful symbiosis. Like it was a beautiful thing where they were like, they got that it was really funny to keep bringing stuff to the door.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It made me laugh so hard that one time I looked out, there was like a horse of some kind. I was like, there's like a horse outside. What is this thing?
Like an actual...
No, like a statue thing. Like I don't know how they got it, but they were just moving heavy stuff and just like putting it in front of my door.
Would they then knock on your door or was it just you'd
there.
Occasionally peep through the peephole? And then was it just piling up or were they removing things?
It changed over time.
Wow.
And I just remember looking down over this balcony at all these smiling kids. And we had some extra swag and treats and we were kind of tossing them around like, here, enjoy this stuff. And they were looking up and they were like partying and dancing and talking to each other about books and having a good time. And I just remember this one girl that I know smiling up and just she was having such a good time. And I was like, these kids are having a good time.
Well, that's
And
great.
it's like a beautiful memory.
Well, that's nice.
So that's the good part of staying in the conference hotel. Brian Thompson was not staying in the conference. Do not put shit by this guy's door. He's not interested.
It's true. Well, now
not
you can do
interested
whatever.
in-
He's not alive.
You can do whatever. Like, no, peons. But he walked across the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was 53rd or 54th, something like that. He's in Midtown, West Midtown, Theater District. 6 a.m. He's going over to start. Can you imagine? You're good conference, like the first presentation, probably going to be 7:30 in the morning or some shit.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
No, that's way too early. That's way too early.
I was like, what are you doing going over to the conference area at 6:45 in the morning? That's just a nightmare. But
yeah, I mean, you would think that's
no.
Like, he's not running the he's like the CEO of a massive. Like, so why is he showing up so early?
You know what? Having been the person that ran the back end of really evil pharma conferences, I was hired as staff.
Yeah.
They would just linger. Like CEOs of pharmaceutical companies would come and just kind of fuck around and linger and want their presentations changed. And
who knows?
You know,
who knows?
He goes over. He's on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And just up walks a guy in a hoodie with a backpack.
Yep.
Who shoots him dead.
Just right there.
On the sidewalk. And then wheels away on a bicycle.
Yep.
Into Central Park.
Yeah.
And that, aside from a few glimpses of a masked hooded guy, off goes the mysterious shooter that captures America's imagination.
And let's face it, hearts.
Because this kind of horrific act opens up a crack in the ground that light comes out of, and energy, and anger, and information. But energy starts coming out.
Yeah.
That's really what I saw. It was like a flow of energy where people said, hey, here's the deal. A CEO of a health insurance company in America, especially United fucking Healthcare.
Yeah. One of the most notoriously evil.
My current insurer until a couple days from now. Yes. Until a couple days.
Fun.
When that insurance goes away.
Yeah.
I get a new one. An insurance that if you're listening from America, we're not telling you anything you don't know.
No. I will tell you, I usually assemble notes for these episodes in the morning ahead of when we record. And this morning, I was unable to assemble much notes because I was dealing with health insurance bullshit all morning. That bullshit being the ACA, Obamacare exchange. You have to choose a plan in the next 5 days. And our current plan, which has been fine, is going up by $300 a month, which is a lot of dollars a month to go up. And so I have been looking at slightly less expensive plans. And I found a plan that looks great. There's also the sort of added factor that the teen now lives, or is going to school in California. And unbeknownst to me, this past semester, they always charge you for their health insurance, and then you have to prove that you have insurance, right? And so he sent them their stuff, and they turned it down, and he sent it again, and they turned it down. And, last year they accepted it. And so finally they are like, oh, yeah, no, your insurance doesn't operate in California anymore because they pulled out of California. So suddenly now, in addition to this insurance being more expensive, we are now also paying for insurance for the teen because he has to have insurance in California, which is fucking insane. So find a plan. They've got stuff in California. You look at the exchange and it says, yep, your doctors are in there, right? So, but I know how this fucking country works and how insurance works. And so I go to our giant conglomerate medical group that has only gotten gianter and more conglomerate-y this year. And I can't find this plan on their list. But also, their list appears to be from last year, not this year, right? And I cannot figure it out. This is a Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. I go to their site and I do like provider finder, and our doctors and things are showing up on their list. But all I want, Maureen, is confirmation from the fucking medical provider that they accept this goddamn insurance, so that I don't end up finding out in January that they don't, despite 2 out of 3 places that I look saying that we do. And I can't get through to them. I can't, they have no like general number. You literally, when you go to their contact, the first thing you do is choose a hospital. And it's like, so I've called the hospital and they're like, we don't know. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, who should I call? And they're like, we don't know. And I'm like, this is helpful. I finally found a phone number on their website on a thing that is like the root level health insurance page, except that page has not been updated since 2023. And the phone number rings and I get a voicemail, but there doesn't seem to be anyone there. This is the bullshit that I've been dealing with all morning.
Yeah.
And I'm no closer to being able to know, is this really a thing that they accept or not?
Yeah.
And I can't trust that, even though it's listed as something that is accepted in 2 places, it's not in the 3rd place, so I really can't trust it. I love it.
I'd spent
fucking love it.
3 days last week doing this exact thing.
Yeah.
Trying to find out if my gynecologist took this insurance.
Yeah.
And they said at one point, we can't tell you over the phone. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't tell me over the phone? They said, we can only do it in the chat.
Sure.
And I said, well, I submitted the question to the chat. And they said, well, it's going to take a couple days. And then they finally did chat respond to me. And I said, do they? And they said, we're not sure. You have to give us the exact information you sign up for. And I said, well, I am trying to find out if you take it before I signed up for it. And they said, when you sign up for it, let us know. And we will tell you if we accept it. And I said, you know what? I'm just going with it because I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
So, Dan, what we're saying is everybody, I think probably everybody in America listening to it, if you're living in another country, I think we have to spend a lot of time explaining just how bad it is because nobody believes us. And also just how much fucking time it takes. And also, if you get sick, you have a new full-time job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to your new full-time job.
Yeah. We, when the teen was born, he was not breathing. And so he was resuscitated. And they didn't cover the resuscitation. And finally, after a lot of back and forth, and this is a back and forth with brand new first-time parents, right? So where everything is absolutely terrifying and new, was finally sorted out that the reason that they didn't cover it was because this child who had literally just emerged from
was not a client of theirs.
Well, that was first. First, they denied it because the claim was for baby boy Sinker, and they did not have a baby boy Sinker on record. They had a actual name on record, right? And so they were like, well, obviously this is a different kid who isn't covered. It's like, yes, this child that emerged seconds before didn't have a name.
He's still in eye line of the vagina. Yeah. Sorry.
So we finally sorted that part out, and eventually they were like, oh, well, the deal is, he hadn't met his deductible yet. So you had to pay the full amount.
How much does it cost to resuscitate a baby?
I can't remember now. It was a lot.
Oh my God. That's such a chilling question. Yeah. How much does it cost to resuscitate a baby?
Yeah. It's a system that makes
no
sense.
that the problems with it were written on 3 bullet casings.
Yeah, it's true. That was,
What were the 3 words? It was deny, defend, depose, I think.
Yeah. Which is, I think, a kind of a spin on the sort of deny, or whatever the normal mantra of health insurance companies are. The thing that is truly wild, I think, if you don't live in this country, you assume like, okay, well, yeah, they're complaining about a lot of bureaucracy, and that sounds awful. But the other thing that you don't recognize is like, even if you have the insurance, you are going to, and something truly awful and thusly expensive happens to you, the amount of money that you still have to shell out is extraordinary.
Yes. It's so much more than you think. And also, what's really bizarre is that they guide your treatment. So at a certain point, non-doctors tell your doctors what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
Which could mean sometimes, because they're like, well, we keep you from getting unnecessary procedures.
Yeah.
No. They're doing it not to pay for it. And a bunch of people that aren't prescribing your treatment are making the decision. But sometimes it also means they stick in ones you don't need at all.
Right.
They make you do extra stuff.
Right. I mean, that's the thing that's truly ironic about the line of we're protecting against unnecessary procedures is if you look at other countries with real health insurance and ours, there are many more unnecessary procedures in ours because
yes,
every step along the way, people are looking to make money instead of actually looking to make you healthy.
So they either take away procedures or medications that you need.
Yeah.
They put people in positions where, a friend of mine used to be a cancer nurse at uptown and said, they would tell these patients, we have medications to help you, but each shot costs $10,000.
Yeah.
And they would sit there and say, do I want to burden my family with this money, with this bill, in case something happens to me?
Yeah.
This is happening all the time, every day, to pretty much fucking everybody.
Yeah.
Which is why.
Yes. To bring us back to the news of the moment and not simply the water that we swim in.
When the CEO of United Healthcare is shot on the street.
Yeah.
Everyone says, we know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you identified and found somebody shot the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Who killed maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 people? They don't know, 6, 5. People be like, well, it was wrong, but we got why you did it. Now imagine a guy who's probably killed, who will ever be able to count how many thousands of people and ruin the lives of untold more.
Yeah.
That is criminal.
Yeah.
When you're actively destroying the lives and health of people and killing people.
Yeah.
So make profit as your actual statement. We got it. It's not like everybody was like, hey, it's awesome to shoot people on the street.
Right.
No.
Well, I mean, I think the thing that was interesting was kind of seeing it all play out, right? Like there was definitely a very quick jump on, well, obviously this is going to be because of the fact that this was a health insurance CEO.
Right.
But there was no information there, right? And it to me, I was like, that feels like we're wish casting here, right? Like and then you get the first bit of detail, I think, was that the fucking bullet casings had,
those words on them.
Yeah, those words written on them. And it was like, oh, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And that, like, the way information came out was so remarkable, right? And I think ultimately now looking back, it's like this is just sort of random, this is random information coming out at random times, right? But just so you get bits and pieces as it goes, to the point that we finally kind of had reached the level of like folk hero. For me, I think it was around the time that they found his backpack days later in Central Park, and it was full of Monopoly money.
I mean, it was hard not to say this guy rules. Like it, but then we also entered the Clouseau phase.
Yeah.
5 days of pure magic in which we watched the NYPD stroll around Central Park with no sense of urgency.
No.
And in this particular time, it's like, the stopped clock. We're like, okay, you know what? Working in our, just gently prodding the bushes with sticks.
Yeah.
Sticks that they found that clearly were just sticks on the ground, and just kind of poking an inch or two in, going, hey, is he in there? Nope. Okay.
Keep looking.
Looking at rocks.
I mean,
when I take the dog to the park, I do the same exact thing.
It is never not entertaining to me / infuriating to me when the pure incompetency of police departments reaches the national stage, right? When everyone is actually looking at what they do and you realize they don't do fucking shit, right? Like, this is a guy on a bike in December. Can't imagine there are that many bikers in December, and this is a police force whose normal operating budget is $5.4 billion with a B. It actually, their actual budget is significantly more. I think it's around 11 billion when you factor in pension and things like that. But their operating budget is larger than the armed forces of many countries. And they can't find a guy on a bike for days. And it's just clear that that's not their job, right? Like, that's the thing to me about police when you need actual them to do shit. It's just very clear that that is not the job of this force, right? This job is some level of crowd control and ticket writing. And that's really the job of a modern police force. It's not to solve crimes. They're terrible at that.
I mean, Dan, I've only had 2 occasions here in the city, and they happened pretty much on top of each other within days.
Yeah.
Of having to contact the local NYPD.
Yeah.
One was that we got a bunch of stuff stolen from in front of our door. We had some packages delivered. They were stolen. And I opened the fire door and found the empty boxes in the hallway, and the stuff was gone.
Yeah.
Including a PlayStation. My husband bought a PlayStation because he works video games, and he needed a PlayStation for his job, and it was stolen.
Yeah.
We weren't particularly mad, but we had to file a police report because Amazon wasn't... Okay, it begins with the fact that the company he ordered it from, Amazon, was not supposed to leave it without a signature. It had signature-only delivery.
Yeah.
And they fucking left it without the signature.
Sure, as one does.
On a day they weren't supposed to leave it.
Yeah.
And they said, if you want your money back, you have to report it to the cops.
Okay.
So we went to the police and said, someone has stolen a PlayStation. And they were like, well, here's a piece of paper with my name on it. And that was it.
Yeah.
That is all that ever happened.
Yeah.
Not long after that, a guy in my building who is famous for roid rage and kind of went after me in the elevator. It was a bad scene.
Yeah.
I ended up not getting hit because I got on the floor, but I was trapped in the elevator. I went to I was told, you have to make a police report. I went there, told them, they were like, yep. And that was it, Dan. Nothing ever happened.
No, nothing ever does.
In both cases, I mean, they seemed apologetic. They were like, no.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything.
Nothing's going to happen with that. Like, they just were like, yeah, well, That's why I had a recent issue, and they were like, I was like, of course I'm not going to go to the NYPD. There's literally, it would only make my life more complicated to go to the NYPD.
Yeah. So, I am always here to see just the gross incompetence. And I don't even know if it's incompetence. It's just that it's not really their job, right? Like, it's not what they perceive their job to be, even though that's sort of the mythology of their job. But in unable to find this person, pretty soon it was like, well, we think you left on a bus, like, he's probably not here anymore. We don't know.
He gets on so the culprit, by now, just a legend.
Yeah.
Just sort of like, Woody Guthrie would sing about this guy at this point.
Yeah.
They said, we think he's left the city.
Helped significantly by the fact that the couple of fleeting security cam photos of this guy, of which we get one kind of full face shot from the side, putting on a real smile, and the other just sort of a straight looking at a taxi dashboard cam with a mask on. The dude's a smoke show.
Oh, legendary eyebrows.
Yeah, I mean, just eyebrows for days.
Oh, just facial features are stunning.
Yeah, that smile is $1 million smile right there.
Yeah, it's a handsome guy.
Yeah.
Every picture was like more handsome than the last. We're like, who is this handsome masked fellow?
Yeah.
He's not in New York. So the NYPD, Mayor Eric Adams, who is currently under indictment, comes out and says, they're like, do you know his name? And he says, we're not going to tell you if we know his name or not. Then he would know what we know.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, I'm going to read to you a few of my favorite things that I read. Because then the internet turned into its old form.
Yeah.
And became legendary. Here's one blue sky skeet from Siege that says, NYPD have obtained footage of the CEO shooter going behind a sofa and descending stairs. He is gone, said a spokesman, and so are the stairs. I laughed about that for a full day.
Yeah.
Here's another one. New details, also by Siege. New details released by the NYPD indicate the shooter may be a type of dryad or wood nymph. Old Tom says, breaking. NYPD has located the tunnel the assassin used to escape the city, but found it to be merely a painting on a brick wall and smashed up several squad cars trying to enter it. The internet twinkled, Dan.
It did.
That old spirit was there. Like, it was just kind of like everybody was in it.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching the antics, the kind of Keystone Copness of it all. The fact that this guy had fucking done it and out. He was gone. He was in the wind and no one knew who he was.
Well, and not to mention that it was clear at that point that this was in fact
an act.
An act, right? A purposeful act. So there you have the kind of perfect storm of righteousness and incompetence, and it was a magical little moment on the internet for sure.
But it was a murder of a murderer.
Yeah,
it was a murder. A man killed a murderer. It's not, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but it has the legendary status because it opened up everything.
Right.
All at once, it was like everyone released a breath.
Yeah.
And said, oh, can we talk about it now? Like, do you get why
Yeah.
And CEOs, I guess, got real scared because they had been about at Blue Cross Blue Shield to enact a thing that said, we're only going to pay for an arbitrary amount of anesthesia.
Yeah.
We'll set it. And if your surgery goes beyond whatever weird limits we set, you're going to get charged for your anesthesia. So if we just say, you're having a quadruple bypass, we'll give you 2 hours. Like whatever they decided. Then after that, you have to pay for anesthesia.
Right.
There used to be a thing, Dan, that when you had surgery, this happened to me. I had a surgery all set up. network hospital, network doctor, everything approved. You go in, and then after it's done, you get a bill because they say your anesthesia was out of network.
Right.
And it was like a scam that they did that turns out they only recently made that illegal.
Right. Yeah, that only recently passed.
But if you pressed them on it, they would finally be like, oh, okay. But it was just like a weird scam that they did.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And I think that it was the same day that,
the next day they were like, oh, yeah, we're not going
to do that.
We're going to pull back. We're going to pull back on that. We're going to pull back on that one. And everyone said, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's just, to me, it is very indicative of this moment in time. That, and I guess pretty indicative of America itself, right? That it took the daylight shooting of a healthcare CEO to sort of open up that moment in time where the traditional order is disrupted for a moment, and the sort of the fear and anger and frustration and everything else from this system comes bubbling to the fore.
The guillotine was wheeled out and used on the street.
Yeah. So that was up until yesterday. We're recording this on Tuesday. You know, this person had achieved a folk hero status, you know. And then he was found. Similar sort of early morning information begins to trickle out, right? In Altoona, Pennsylvania. You ever been to Altoona?
No, I've never been to Altoona.
I saw a lot of references to Altoona. There's an Altoona in Iowa as well. And I was like, oh my God, he's in Altoona, Iowa. I think Altoona, Iowa, there's like a water park. You see it on the side of the road called like the Wasserbahn or something like that. There's a lot of German and Dutch stuff in that section of Iowa. But yeah, the Wasserbahn, I'm pretty sure, is in Altoona, Iowa. But it was Altoona, Pennsylvania. At a McDonald's.
It was a Greyhound bus stop, Dan.
Yeah.
He had been on a bus.
I'm confused, though. There's timeline that I don't quite understand, because the best that anyone knows, this taxi shot where he's really just flashing those eyebrows, was 10 minutes after he was seen entering Central Park or so. And he was dropped at a bus station, a lesser used, more of a commuting bus station. And so that was last Wednesday. And he only made it as far as Altoona, Pennsylvania, and was still on a bus. Like, I don't understand the timeline here.
Or what I'm sure that eventually we will be given the timeline in excruciating detail.
Oh, absolutely. But I would have thought he would have got further than that.
Or that he was just biding his time because they might be looking at buses immediately.
Right.
So your first step is to leave the city and lay low and then take a bus somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
If they're going to be searching buses, then take a bus out. So get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And then not get on a transportation for a couple of days actually seems like a pretty good move. As someone who writes mystery stories, I spend a lot of time thinking about this because this is exactly the kind of shit I have to think about.
Yeah.
So I was like, what do you do? Like, where was the bike? Because they said it wasn't a city bike. So I'm like, did he have to have the bike planted there in advance? Like, was it chained up? Like, did he just have it leaning against a car or a post unchained? Like, what was the deal with the bike? It just, I thought about this a lot. Like, how did he do? He went into the park. I know the entrance that he went in.
Yeah.
I worked right near there at Jekyll and Hyde. Like, I know exactly. He just went right up that street and into the park on a cold and dark December morning. Poof. Then suddenly he was at 178th Street going over the Washington Bridge. Yeah. And,
anyway.
So
have a name.
Altoona, Pennsylvania. He's at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Some snitch.
Yeah. McDonald's cashier, it seems.
Sees the eyebrows.
Yep.
Says, I know those eyebrows.
I mean, who wouldn't?
I'm calling the cops.
Yeah. He's picked up. In his bag, he still has the gun, which turns out to be a 3D printed ghost gun, which that's a thing that we live in now.
Wait a minute. So, see, is the second backpack?
Yeah, I don't understand. I guess so. I guess it's
There's
second
like a
backpack.
multi-jacket. There's a whole thing where he also appears to be wearing 17 different jackets, but that's a different thing too.
Yeah. But he's got that, and he's got some fake IDs, and he's got a little, very succinct, I think it's reported as like 262 word manifesto.
That's pretty succinct.
I mean, just really efficient.
We haven't read it yet.
No, but there have been some quotes that have made it into the news where he admits to doing it. He admits to doing it alone, and he does talk about the sort of profit over people aspect to it as well. But the name, Maureen,
okay,
Luigi Mangione. When that was announced, I thought back to during COVID times, the little one had taken to very dramatically announcing when we were eating pasta, specifically mastacholi. He would go, "Mastacholi." And that was the exact voice that I said, "Luigi Mangione," in my head the minute I saw it.
I believe we once had a sticker that said "Codename Meatball," and
It's true.
Believe we have
that guy. It's true. Our Italian spy. Turns out.
So
yeah.
So the pictures show up. This guy, fucker, is handsome. He's a good-looking man.
Yeah.
And I wrote to you immediately, and I was like, Dan, all I've been whispering to myself is, please don't be an incel. 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 Please don't. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just something I wanted.
Yeah. I think that that's the complication, right? Like the sort of folk hero status of
Never meet your heroes.
of a guy gunning for healthcare CEOs and disappearing into the wind, right? Like you want an 8-minute Bob Dylan ballad from the 70s about it, right? The actual human flesh part is always going to be a disappointment.
Yeah. Which is why we were all a little, oh, man.
Yeah. But definitely a different profile than what I maybe had expected from a moneyed family in Baltimore, valedictorian of a hoity-toity private school as a high schooler, UPenn graduate,
computer scientist, interested in video games.
Yep. Yeah, and extensive Goodreads, like a very large web presence overall.
Of what I would describe a selection of airport style books.
Yeah, a lot of pop business books.
But also, I noticed the bullet journaling book.
I did notice the bullet journal handbook, and I was like, "Whoa, that book changed my life."
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a lot of pop biz, which checks out, right? Like to me, a wealthy, kind of going into computer science, which probably means almost certainly like going into the startup world, right? Like that kid's always going to read all the various airport pop business books for sure. Like, and yeah, just kind of seems like a bit of a bro, right? His Twitter backdrop includes a Pokemon and him shirtless, which, whew.
The internet was not angry.
No. And then also an X-ray of what appears to be a pretty significant back surgery that he had. And I was reading recently that happened like late last year or so, after many years of chronic back pain, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it is. Whoa, I almost fell on my stool.
Dan, are you okay?
I have this weird. Do you remember when you were a kid? Weeble wobbles. Weebles wobble and they don't fall down.
Mm-hmm.
My new stool is basically just a Weeble wobble that you sit on. And I don't know how to do it in a way that every now and then, randomly, I'm not hit with a moment of like, oh God, I'm going to fall.
Dan, the reason you're having trouble sleeping and you're falling off your chair, that I have nausea, that people, my friends are calling me up crying and everybody is genuinely, I feel like last month it happened and this month it's like it's starting to, it's like information was poured on my brain. And at first my brain became very smooth to try to protect me. My brain got very smooth so nothing could get in. And then I also just went kind of flat. Like I couldn't, here's a dumb thing, Dan. Like I couldn't post, like I didn't post anything on Instagram. Like I couldn't think about certain things.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the brain capacity to do certain tasks. I did a bunch of stuff, but some stuff just wasn't working. And then all the little fissures, the ice is melted and the fissures are open and the information is getting in through the cracks, Dan.
Yeah.
And the dreams are starting, the weird sleep and the nausea. And the fact is that we're living this particular form of the revolution, the dark revolution.
Yeah.
Is here and we're living in it, but we're trying to do normal shit day to day too.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Like it's all fucking happening.
It is in fact all happening.
No, Dan, it's happening.
It is happening.
You sent me a picture of the two of us on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah, Janice just sent that to me this morning.
I need to make a collection of all our pictures. I want to put it on. Like I want to collect all of them.
Yeah.
I believe we did this maybe at the last of the night.
This was near the very end of the evening. Yeah.
We knew at this
Yes.
point, because you're holding up the microphone as we had just ridden through hell together. It was warm.
It was.
And we were talking about what had just happened. And my brain was so smooth at that moment. Like it was just so, it was like a beautiful stone, Dan. Beautiful, smooth stone. It was not accepting information at that time.
Yeah. It is a great little picture, though.
Me. Yeah, it was trying so hard to protect me. So many of us were like, nah, not 24 hours is not happening.
Well, I think that's part of why I only just got this photograph from Janice. I think she has not looked at the photos from that day at all that she took, which is understandable.
Dan, this is Dan and Maureen's wild. This is everybody's wild ride.
We're on it. We
are on the wild ride.
Very much so.
I don't like the fact that it ends in hell, but hell sort of seems like a bit of a jam inside that ride. But
at least it was warm.
It was warm. Now, Dan, if you remember, we're supposed to be a coping strategy.
Yeah.
What have we done this week? In what we said in the last 53 minutes that has helped people cope?
I mean, that's a high bar, Maureen.
Is it that we have in some way given voice to thoughts?
Probably.
Because no one wants to feel good about rooting on a murderer.
Right.
That is inherently something that we're not into.
No, yeah, no.
And yet here we are.
Right.
Looking at something going, wow, but that guy was a mass murderer. Like, and that no one was ever going to stop.
Right. Well, we always, one of America's original sins is only defining violence as individual acts and not as systems or as series of laws that it's like our system is violent, period. It is built on violence. Literally, this country was built on violence, first of the genocide of Native people, and then of hundreds of years of slavery, right? Like that is what we're built on. And so we don't talk of that as violence, right? We talk of that as history, or as the system we live in. We don't talk about this insane healthcare system as violence, even though it is absolutely violence, right? We only talk about violence as individual acts. We don't talk about police as perpetrators of violence, right? We talk about, oh, there's a couple of bad apples. So I think that's part of it, right? I think that's a big part of it is the shades were drawn back for a moment and people were able to say, no, this is violence too. What I have lived under, is violent, and the repercussions of it are the same.
It was just a whip round where everyone's like, you could just say it. We could always say it, but now we could say it with some sort of context. Like, hey, no, here's the trouble. We totally get why he did it.
Yeah.
We know why he did it.
Right.
Dan, I feel like we need to make fart noises or something. There we go. There it is. You guys feel better now? No, Dan, coping now. Now we gotta cope. Say something. No, say something smart. I should not have suggested this. Dan, you are the father of two, the creator of Matt. You're out of, and now you're out of breath.
That was all my air.
You just turned purple.
That was all of my air.
You are purple and wearing an orange hat.
It's true. I'm a splendid set of colors right now.
With a white beard, white glasses, a purple face, and an orange hat. He looks like a Dr. Seuss character.
Whew, I'm a little lightheaded now from all that farting.
The Sinkersnatch. The Sinkersnatch makes farting noise for all the little girls and boys to distract them from their earthly woes. He farts from his head and from his toes. His orange hat, his whitish beard. He makes the noise that's super weird. To giggle and to laugh also. Now to the guillotine they go. Whoa, shit.
Wow.
Shit. Oh, whoa. I just knocked over my foot hammock.
Says who? Is made possible by you through your support.
That foot hammock has been hanging for 8 years, and I just, it's like the sign that it's all kicking off. I've just kicked off my foot hammock.
No more foot hammocks.
Hold on.
Feet on the ground.
Talk, I'll fix it.
Says Who is made possible by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where pretty much every Sunday you get this all over again. You get me and Maureen doing a thing we call the Town Watch. If you give it the $5 or $10 a month level, that $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail every month that you give it that level, because you become, whoa, I'm falling forward. You become a member of the Says Who Sticker Club. All of that is available to you at patreon.com/sayswho. Our theme music was performed by Ted Leo. Our logo was designed by Darth. You can contact us at sayswhopodcast.com on Blue Sky, at sayswhopodcast on Threads, and sayswho at omfg.town on Mastodon, or you can email at hey, that is HEY, at sayswhopodcast.com. Maureen has a very squinchy look on her face right now as she contemplates what appears to be some sort of belt loop. Is that
foot hammock loop?
Oh no, your foot hammock. You didn't just kick it over, you blew it apart.
Yeah, no, it's not over. Like I literally kind of tore it apart. I think I can fix it though. I think it just kind of came loose from the thing.
Rest time is over, Maureen. It's go time.
Don't worry. Not only do I have a foot hammock, Dan, but I also have this folding stool that's always under my feet, because the way I sit isn't like I sit sort of, I put both my feet on this folding stool, and that way I kind of sit up.
Okay.
So it's I bought this like $9 folding stool ages ago, and it's how I kind of, by putting both my feet on it, you can position yourself so you sit straight.
So what you're saying is underneath your desk, it's just full of shit.
No, it has two things.
Okay.
It has the stool for sitting up, but
Yeah.
it has the foot hammock for leaning back.
Okay.
There's a real
Well-
command station down here. Look, I do everything from this desk. This is the wheel of the ship. This is I'm steering her through, Dan. Oh shit.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Join the
it's awesome calling. I gotta go.
Join the discussion on Facebook
Hello.
at /group/SaysWhovians. Our Facebook group is
I'm
moderated
actually still recording,
by
and this
Janice
is being
Dillard.
recorded. Bye. What's
If
going
you
on?
want to join the fan run Discord server, you can
Okay.
always visit tinyurl.com/sayswhodiscord. Spread the word, subscribe, and leave stars and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever it is that you listen. Is everything okay?
Yeah, no, I had to take if you have to know, Dan, because Dexy's being boarded, they needed to do a poop test.
Okay.
And we dropped off the poop.
Yeah.
And they just wanted payment.
Okay. All right.
You know, she had a checkup the other day that was just like her bordadella and normal blood work.
Yeah.
And you know how much it was for a bordadella and normal blood work?
$400.
It was $600.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And they didn't even test her
Youch.
poop. I know.
You can join us next Wednesday, December 18th, for our next episode. But listen up, folks, because that is our last episode of 2024, believe it or not. There will be no episode. The following Wednesday is Christmas Day. We're not doing one then.
Day. Oh, the Sinkersnatch.
So you will see us in the new year after next week, where we will have an episode on January 1st. New Year's Day with Maureen and Dan. You know, you could, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I always release the episode at 12:05 a.m. Central Time. So a person could ring in the new year and then immediately just listen to me and you for an hour.
So we're going to record on New Year's Eve.
We'll record on New Year's Eve or the 30th if we need to.
No, Dan, I think let's fucking do it. Let's record on New Year's Eve and really reflect back on 2024 and all its gifts.
Sounds great. But you will actually hear us next week, December 18th. And from my basement in Chicago, I am Dan Sinker.
And from New York City, greatest city in the world, where we've got it covered. That's why I can't leave, Dan. This is where the magic happens.
Okay.
This is where it happens. Oh, the Sinkersnatch. Wait, if you're the Sinkersnatch, what am I?
Maureen.
This has been Sesu. The Sinkersnatch makes sounds of gas. He turns purple instead. His orange hat, his whitish beard, and the face that once was red. He's out of air. He's falling down. His wobbly chair. He's on the ground. Dan. Do you feel better?
No, I feel really dizzy.
Yeah.
Feel really dizzy.
Yeah.
Really dizzy.